My husband was in ICU for 42 days. He had cardiac arrest. He coded four times, so he was dead 4 times.
Denise de Oliveira,
Hello.
good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for seeing me.
Denise, your charts were going through a red light on Eddy Street and Dudley Street. Mm-hmm. Do you know that area?
I do.
What were you doing up there? Going to the hospital?
My husband was in ICU for 42 days, actually in ICU. He had cardiac arrest. He coded four times, so he was dead 4 times. I have no idea what I was doing. I know you have to stop at a red light for I don't know how many seconds before you go through. Mm-hmm. I just had to get to the hospital. That's all I had to do.
How's he doing?
Not good. It's been months. He's still in a walker, and
Is he at home now?
he's at home. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Who's it, just you and he?
Yes, just him and I, and he's just not doing good.
How many years you been married?
25.
Well, one thing that I've learned in the last minute is that you're a dedicated wife.
Yes.
You know, and I think the last thing in the world you were thinking about was making a right-hand turn on red.
Yes. Especially when he codes, or they call me and his heart, he had tachycardia, and I just had to get there all the time. So that's the last thing I was thinking about, was stopping at a red light or not stopping long enough. So I apologize.
Well, the one thing you don't have to do is apologize. Sometimes we take other factors into consideration. You know, and being up here making, I sometimes think to myself, being up here, like every 5 minutes I'm making a decision, but the decision I make, I can just look at it and say, you're guilty, not guilty, but there are always other factors in life, that we take into consideration. So I'm going to tell you a story about my point of reference. Inspector Quinn, I don't think I ever told this story, but my father was born in Italy, and he was one of 10 kids. And my grandfather was a fruit peddler. And so one night, my grandfather and all of his friends, after working all week, and it was a Saturday night, they got together and they had a couple of bottles of wine, and they got a little unruly. So they brought him down to the police station. They kept him overnight. So my father was one of the few in the family that spoke English. So he went down with my grandmother to court. But my grandmother was so nervous that she thought he was going to go to jail, like for life. But she didn't know. They said, your husband got arrested. He's in the police station. So she went around and talked to all of the peddlers and asked them for money, because she didn't know. She thought she was going to cost her a fortune to get him out of jail. And it was in the fall, and it was kind of cold, so she had on like 3 dresses. And in the 3rd dress, she had all this money. So my father goes down to court with her. And they're waiting, and they bring my grandfather up from the cell, and he's all disheveled. And my father gets up to talk to the court, and when he finishes speaking, my grandmother jumps up, and she says, my grandfather's sitting there, and she says, please, judge, please, no jail, please, right? And she reaches in, and she says, I got a pneumonia, right? So my father tells this story. I can just see him. And Inspector Quinn, you're going to like this part of the story. And my father said to me, he says, Frank, he says, there was this great Irish judge. He says, and he looked at my mother and he says, Mrs. Caprio, when my father's interpreting, he said, Mrs. Caprio, he says, your husband is a good man. He had one bad night, right? You have 10 children. We're going to send your husband home to you, it's not going to cost you anything. So,
nice.
but my father told that story to me, I don't know how many times, but he always talked about this. He said, we had a shock of white hair. He said, this great Irish judge. What a great judge he was, because he understood things besides the case itself, right? So, Denise,
Yes, sir.
I don't have a shock of white hair, and I'm not Irish, but
I am Irish.
Judge, tell Denise in her third shirt, let's hope she's got the 85.
No, I don't.
Inspector Quinn moves that the case be dismissed.
Yes, Your Honor, based on the explanation, Judge. City moves.
Good luck.
Thank you so much.